video, there was this Rasta man, right? There's this Rasta man, he was saying, oh, welcome to this and all this stuff. And you said that, because of this whole COVID thing, it's best if we don't do that, right? But of course, if I'm not mistaken, he's in Antigua, I think he said.
Yeah.
One of those Caribbean islands.
Yeah, that was Antigua.
Okay, so we are in, we're Turtle Island. Okay, you're in Treaty 6. I don't know, to be honest with you, what they call Ontario. I don't know. But we're in Toronto, Ontario. And so my question is, how problematic would it be if, let's say, I wanted to come and visit you, not necessarily at your home, because I understand that it's private place, but somewhere, I guess, public, where we could see each other face to face. Your wife, yourself, and myself, since, as it is right now, my mate is not a part of the process.
Yeah, you have to travel out here.
That's fine. We're very used to that. But I need to know that's something that could happen in the future.
It's up to you all. I've had so many people that were in Oregon and different places that said they wanted to come up and they never came up. I had a girl from the UK that said she was going to come up for our wedding and was saying all this stuff, and then when it came time, she never came.
So the reason why I asked is because I wanted to clarify. I don't like to jump to conclusions. It felt like you were kind of saying it's better if we just don't come, regardless of wherever we are.
But no. I told people don't travel internationally. That's what I said. Right. And I said, if for people who were south of the 49 and said they wanted to come, or somebody else said in the islands or whatever, I think that was the one from Jamaica wanted to come, not Jamaica, Antigua wanted to come. And I said, listen, right now, don't nobody travel. Keep your ass home. So if you're in, for example, because I don't think they're requiring any testing domestically on the planes, then fine. That's different. That's not the same as if you're going to hop a plane and go to Barbados, or somebody from Europe is trying to come over to visit me. I'll tell them flat no, because they're going to have to get tested first. And I'm like, nope. I said, we're going to wait.
I'll send you the screenshot, because there's different methods in which a person can get tested that does not involve inserting anything into any of their orifices. They do have the saliva test that they do that does not include you having to do anything that goes into your body.
Yeah, I'd have to look at that. So you could go ahead and email it to me. I don't have a problem with that. But right now I'm just telling people, because this was the problem they had with the airline pilots, because some pilots said they weren't taking the shot because they said they could have a seizure, or they could have an episode at 30,000 feet. And that already happened. So now I have to start watching. I got to start watching these planes now, because I was like, oh yeah, these guys probably took the shot, and I'm seeing like, oh, okay, I need to pay attention and start watching the skies more to see what's happening, to make sure that these planes are going. Well, I don't know about private charter, if they were subject to that same requirement. So that's something I'd have to find out.
Okay. I won't take up any more of your time. But I will send you the picture that I found, because I look at these things a lot. The thing is, of course, just everything that you said, it's not in their best interest to disclose anything that's going to work against them. So I found out when I was at FedEx, that's where I was working with, but it fired me in a very weird way. But anyway, I found out there, after doing a bunch of research, that yes, there is a way to get through having to have anything pushed into your nose or injected into your body.
Yeah, I know that I know they had some airlines were just telling people to spit, like, and for those people traveling to Africa, because there was like people were not feeling that, and I know how Africans feel about each other, so they They knew they had just told people spit in a thing and we'll get the saliva that way. That's how they was doing that.
Right.
So that's
Right.
not.
So
I don't
people
have
just
an
have to
issue with
say it.
that. I don't have
Yeah,
an
people
issue with
just have
that.
to say it. That's all.
Well, see, yeah, and that's one of the things that they kind of keep. They don't publish that in the news. They just make people think that they don't have any choice. And then if there is, there's other people that have to release that to let the public know you can do that. I've just told people just to be on the safe side. Don't fly internationally. Domestically, they don't have a problem, but internationally, no.
Okay. Is it okay if I send you additional questions if I just
I
happen to
don't
have
have a problem
anything
with
else?
that. Send it all.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just
Okay.
want to know
Okay.
what which statutory declaration are you doing?
I'm gonna be doing all things. I don't really want to be doing anything one by one. I'm gonna try because I'm doing all three. I'm doing Mark, Sean, Christopher.
Oh, you have to do one for Mark?
Yes, because
Okay.
I came to him. I met him before I came. That's how I met you. But,
Uh-huh.
and then of course I started learning about the UCC, and I don't know. I looked up online on YouTube on and this guy, one of they popped up. I watched maybe about 4 of his videos, and then the third video I watched of it, I don't know, towards like the end of the video because I was skipping through it. I didn't really want to watch the video, but I kept going anyways. And then this guy came on and started talking about you. And I was like, oh, that's interesting because you said you're a percent sure each other. And so at that point, I'd only known about Mark. I didn't even know that this was, in my mind, it just was something that anybody else could have done. So when I found out that you were in Canada, or Turtle Island, that was the real ticker for me. So I was like, okay, let me check this man out, see what he's all about. And yeah, that's how it started.
Okay, great. So, once you send me your draft, I don't care if you want to do three different ones. It doesn't matter to me. But
Yeah, so I
you,
could do Mark. I have to do this lady called Isis Wisdom, and
yeah,
I
I
have
know
to
who
do
she is. I know who Isis Wisdom is.
I wouldn't call her she, but fine. That's a story for another day. And I have to do the Nubian thing. Even though I've never signed a contract with them, I mean, I know your maid explained to me, and I did read the caveat
Uh huh.
about having a mental,
Yeah, because
having a mental
they've done fraud. That's what they've done. They kept lying and kept telling people to send in funds for Atom Ray and they haven't won anything. In
No, I know
17
about
or
that
8
for sure.
years, they haven't won anything. And even the last thing that he did, what's her name? Victoria, and he lost that. He lost that
Mm-hmm.
case, and I was like, I told them that already, and I was explaining this to another Nuwabian in Kyrie, and I said I sent this email to 594 Nuwabians, and not one of them responded to say anything, not even to say take me off your list. So that means they know they're guilty. All of them.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are guilty. I told him
Yeah.
that she's not going to win. She can't do anything. She's not going to win. And that's what happened. And I was like, okay, so after Ray saying he's indigenous, his attorney's calling him black. What's going on with that situation?
Exactly. Exactly.
I
And that
showed
was really interesting to me. That really, I never really understood up until that point. But once that was
because
something I became aware of.
they were keeping that information from people because then people would have started questioning them, well, why are we doing this, why are we doing that, and
Mm-hmm.
so they
Mm-hmm.
had to keep that transcript hidden from people. Then when
Mm-hmm.
they see he said he's indigenous, that's what he said, that's a court document. Now it's like, oh shoot, then why is it Victoria calling him black and keep calling him an elderly black
Exactly.
man? So that means, what does it come down to? They don't want to hear about indigenousness. Okay, there you go. But that's not what
Yep.
that isn't what Atumre taught. So therefore, that
Exactly.
means the only one that can help them was me, and their chief told them to contact me, which they didn't. So that means they don't
Yes,
care
I
about
watched
him.
that video. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll be on the lookout for your emails so I can start proofing your documents and you can start getting them ready to get them.
You should be receiving them. Oh, I'm sorry. You should be receiving them next
All right.
Okay.
All
All
right,
right.
no
Thank you
problem.
so much.
Yeah, the only one you're gonna have to get notarized will be for Isis Wisdom and the Nawabians. The one for Mark, that one, all you'll have to do is autograph it and then send it to him.
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, because the quantum is fraud. I just did some. I had another person. She's dealing with Russell. She's gonna see him tomorrow, and so hers is gonna be she'll be the first one that's ever actually present. She'll be presenting that to Russell Gould. And my point again was, if he said he's fighting against the COVID fraud, then he cannot ignore race, because the doctors have the ability, if they don't know the race of the patient, they can write it in.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So now he can't tell me, Russell cannot tell me he's a plenipotentiary fighting the fraud of the COVID pandemic,
I don't know who Russell.
and then
I know Mark. I don't know who
ignore. Well,
Russell is.
Russell was around with David Wynn Miller. Mark came later. Mark only been around about 5 years, at maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, because David Wynn Miller died, I think it was 2019 or 2018 is when
Yes, which I find interesting.
is when he died. So Mark supposedly took over. I said, who the hell, how you take over from David Wynn Miller? But anyway, the point I'm saying is that the doctors can choose the race of the patient. That's not
Right.
freedom. So therefore,
Mm-hmm.
how can Russell say that he's trying to, they call him the hero of the planet, he saved the world? How? Because the doctors can make a visual determination on the race of the patient. That's not freedom. And they all use the same definitions of race. So,
Exactly.
either Russell is going to ignore race and say it doesn't matter, or embrace it. Now, the definition for race deals with water. It wasn't until years later where it dealt with genealogy. So, based on the corporation and the fiction, they're saying these are the definitions of race. This is how they're defining it. And so black still has no standing at law. It's considered dead in the eyes of the law. They have no rights,
Right.
no protections, no nothing. How is quantum
Nothing.
helping them? How can quantum help black people? Quantum means how much, talks about quantity. It's about a measurement. That's what quantum means. And quantum wasn't brought into physics until 1900 by Max Planck. So Max Planck did something that's wrong, because quantum doesn't deal with that. Quantum is dealing with the measure of how much of something, or the smallest quantity of something. That is quantum. We are infinite. Because if you ask them how many cells does the human body have, they'll say billions upon billions, which means endless. There probably is a limit, but they can't even begin to, because by the time they start counting them, some of those cells have already died and new cells have came in. So they can't even put a number on the amount of cells. You see what I'm saying? Because your cells constantly are regenerating.
Right.
So that makes you
It's interesting because I've never heard you talk about well, I shouldn't say that. What I meant to say is, so when I do this paper, I'm sending it off to Mark.
Yep.
I'm presenting it to Mark, not this other person.
No, but they're both teaching quantum. So to me, Asu Karkimem took. So it doesn't make a difference to me whether it's Mark. Your contract was with Mark, so I have to make sure that reference to Mark is put in it. Hers is Russell, and Russell was friends and was associates with David Wynn Miller. So the only similarity is the fact that for the word of the black is with the no hyphen standing at the law. Why can't these guys explain that? Black means pale. Oh, what does quantum mean? Quantum means a smallest amount of energy, but that's physics. Quantum is how much, how little, the smallest amount of matter, and a grammar is Latin. Rules of Latin. That's what the etymology of grammar means. What is Latin? Latin takes you to an area in Italy outside of Rome. So now, how is quantum grammar going to help somebody who's a descendant of the original people on the planet, which was admitted to by a NASA astronaut that they are the original owners? So the contracts that they're doing don't include us. So therefore, that's fraud. So you see when I talk about level playing field? Because that means he's supposed to be telling the black people, whether it's Mark or Russell, hey, first you guys got to get standing at law, because right now, based on maritime law, based on the courts, you don't have standing at law. So here's what you got to do first. They're not doing that. He's taking your fiat, saying, oh, we're going to bring this system down. We're going to do quantum syntax parse, blah, blah, blah. Really?
Okay. Okay, let me ask you something since you brought this up, because I remember in one of your videos, okay, I can't remember the title of the video, but I know you were saying that he would have no place to speak on that because he's not, one of us. He's not a, indigenous man. You see what I'm saying? Like,
what did you say?
He would have Mark would have no place to speak on it. So he wouldn't be able to present that to people because he would have to be a Nubian. He'd have to be an indigenous man, a true white man.
And he's not. And he's not. He's a black man.
So that's what I'm saying, right? In his situation, would you not consider him to be damned if he does and damned if he doesn't?
I don't care. That's not my problem. He said they're the ones that say you can't lie in quantum, right?
I understand that. No, my thing is...
Hold on. No, you got to hold on and listen here, because you asked me the question.
I'm listening.
He is a black man. Now, this is what Atum Ray taught. Are you going to accept that or reject that?
No, I'm not going to reject it. I'm going to accept it.
So you're going to what?
I accept it. I receive it.
So Atum Ray says the black man is the Hindu, the East Indian.
Yes.
The pale man you call white is from Aldebaran. So, good. That's established. Now, if we go to science, what has been proven is that what? The Asians, the Chinese and pale people are mutations of the darker races.
Correct.
Then when we go to the top geneticist in China, he says what? He says that the gene pools of the Chinese are from Africans.
Correct.
So, with all of those confirmed facts, and then the Holy Tablet says that we are deities, we're not men. How are they saying they're there, whether it's Mark or Russell? Yeah, how down. Here you go. That's cool. How are they going to say that they are trying to save the planet and help people when they won't even tell the people who are black that they are actually white in commerce? So that means all the quantum contracts that Mark has done up are void. That's why I showed the teacher's guide where Atum Ray said the trap of Kingu is the use of the noun, persons, places, and things.
Right.
So that means they can't help us get to the level of infinity or eternity because they are trapped. So they're trapped with the quantum language, which is restrictive and limited, whereas your hair is curling 9 to the 9th power of 9, making you infinite. So how can a finite being teach you about infinity that's in your genes?
Right, I get that. I understand that.
How?
I'm just trying to find...
No, stop. You see how you just ignored what I just said? How can a finite being teach you about infinity that is embedded in your genes?
No, they cannot.
Okay,
I agree with you.
good. You didn't say that. That's what I'm looking to hear. So now, when you now that you said that, how can he say that the quantum is truthful? It's quantum parse syntax. It's truthful, but he can't tell you about why is it that they won't talk about race. And race is part of health, it's part of loans, it's part of business, it's part of contracts.
Everything.
So if he's not going to talk about race, but the governments and the corporations that do business include that in health, in education, and everything, then isn't that fraud?
Yes, based on that logic, it is fraud.
Because then that means what's the problem? Somebody is going to get an advantage when you talk about race. And somebody who might be rich today might be a pauper in the AM. Because they'll say, oh, you're conducting fraud by saying you're here to help people, but you won't tell the black people they're actually white. You don't want to talk about that? But meanwhile, the U.S. Census says you have the right to self-identify, and that's global. World Health Organization follows the same definitions, CDC, National Institute for Health. So what is the problem? Because it's going to give somebody's an unfair advantage? No, that's nature.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was fine when they were going in and raping Africa and South America and the Caribbean. It was wonderful. But now that we're saying, oh, we're the first on the planet, we're the descendants, we're white, it's our planet, I'm claiming ownership of our planet, I'm taking our planet back, and none of these motherfuckers got nothing to say? All the black people that, oh, we still struggling. Here's someone that looks like you but isn't black but looks like you that has said, I'm claiming the planet, it's our planet and I'm claiming it, and now none of these conscious black people have anything to say. So then that means they are already broken. They're done. I'm not interested in them. They're dead anyway. Yes, they're done.
I'm not gonna take up any more of your time. I do want to say something in response to this, not as a disagreement or anything. You know what? Let me just say it. I personally feel like it's like you said. It's always us that was supposed to tell our stories. Always us that was supposed to create our own remedies.
Yes.
Right? It was always us. My thing is, I feel like if a person is ill and they want to help people, they need to help their own ill people. And if they're Indian and they want to help people, they want to help their own Indian people. And if in our case, they're white, they're indigenous, they're the original people of this planet, and they want to help people. I mean, I feel like we have to be able to help everybody, but in this case, we have to start with ourselves. This is what you're doing.
What's the old saying? The Most High helps those who help themselves. What are the other races doing to help us on a whole? Not from an only economic standpoint. What are they doing to help you spiritually? What are they doing to help you psychically? What are they doing to help you educationally about who you are? What are the other races doing? So, therefore, you have to call a spade, as they say. All the races are guilty of genocide against us. All the religions are guilty of genocide against us. I'm the only one talking about getting white, saying, okay, it's a contractual world, it's a commercial world, this is the terms and conditions of this world, these are the definitions that must be used. Fine, good, got it, I'm white. Now what?
We build.
So, no, not build. I've heard that word before. Manifest.
Okay.
That's a much stronger word. That's that old conscious 90s. Oh, I was building with this brother. No, we ain't building nothing. I want to manifest. That is what we need, is manifestation. Because you will see the end results of saying I am white. You'll see the end results of saying, oh, black has no standing at law. You'll see the end results of claiming your indigenousness. You're not seeing that with any of these other groups out there. It's all generic crap that, oh, anybody can do. But again, you can't sell a Chinese person a yin yang. They won't buy it from you because they're like, that's our culture, and you're not going to sell us our culture to us.
Yes. But we do that with everybody else. But, you know.
That's the program of black. That's the reason why you have to let black go. So Mark doesn't get a pass with me. Russell doesn't get a pass with me. I'm asking one simple question. For the word of the black is with the no hyphen standing at the law. What does that mean? I know the answer. That's why I asked the question, and I asked it in quantum. They can't answer. So that tells me that David must have discovered, along with the Rothschilds, that once you get to a certain level, it's going to realize that, hey, this is only going to benefit pale people. The real people are the gods, or the dark-skinned people, or the deities. That means commerce stops. Banking stops, and it has to be reset with us at the helm. I'm willing to take that. I'm willing to do that. We have to be the center. Now that thanks to that what's his name? The astronaut from NASA admitting that blacks are the original owners of the planet, you got to come forward. So that's why they're constantly on black people, because they have the potential to scuttle this whole economic, political, financial, health system. And I've done it. And I'm showing others in our nation to do it. I'm teaching others who at some point will come into our nation. So this is where we're at now. Rest anybody who ain't talking about what I'm talking about is a fucking asleep.
I agree.
And I wouldn't bother wasting time trying to wake a comatose person. They're considered legally dead, except for the fact they can still do commerce. Outside of that, forget it. They're useless.
Okay. Thank you for the clarity and the correction. I will be emailing you in the next couple of days. Don't expect anything over the weekend. But
Great.
I'll be emailing you over
Great.
the next
Yeah, make sure you send it to kemet19@gmail.com.
I will look through the caveat to see if I have that email, but I don't recall seeing that one.
Yeah, kemet19@gmail.com.
Is that Kemet with an H or just
No,
K-E-M?
yeah, KEMIT19@gmail.com.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a great Sunday. Happy Gadur.
Happy Gadur. That's what I have.
Great. Yes, I heard you've been trying to call me. For some reason, it's getting blocked.
Well, I don't know that I was getting blocked. I just know the number wasn't going through. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I don't know if I was getting blocked. I just know that it wasn't ringing, so it wasn't going through.
Oh, wow. So you weren't able to leave a message?
Nothing. You know, I called, and what I was greeted with is, I'm not able to make this phone call. Please check the number and dial again.
Okay, well, not anymore. I got your number now. So that should change.
And it wasn't just my phone, because I don't know, I wanted to be certain, so I used my mate's phone and having the same problem as well. So I'm not sure what's going on, but it's not because nothing in the past with me.
Well, I should have no problem now, because sometimes they'll put a plus sign in front of the number, so that means they try to block it. So that's fixed now.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a question. Pardon my voice. I don't know. I have this weird thing going on. With the statutory declaration, right? The list that you're making, is it also by the scholar staff?
Yeah.
Or is that okay? The list, right? Did you guys at any point in time contract with these people? Is that how you came to know of them?
Other people contracted with them. Other people contracted with them, like the Moors. I know about them. They have Cujo out there in Toronto. He's the agent. So all of that we're saying is like I've asked a very simple question. Show
Yes.
me where they have won a court case or they have been successful in what they're doing using those documents, and they can't answer it. So that means it's useless. Period.
And could I also ask you, you asked them also if they declared that black, as you know, we know has no standard. I'll just ask them that as well.
Well, they kind of know that already, but they don't really push white. They
So
push they
okay,
push being they push being a Moor, and then that's when I start going higher and saying, well, what language did the Moors speak? And then all of a sudden now it's like, oh shoot, yeah, because if you say you are what they were and you are what your forefathers were, you should be speaking their language, and they don't.
okay, all right. Okay. So with this cancer declaration, is it something where once I declare it, right, it will be somewhere? I don't know. It's somewhere, some database or something that could be pulled up if I so choose to put it there
Yeah,
myself.
they'll be called the database called the internet,
Okay.
because you're going to publish that. Once you publish that, you'll also be doing a video. So now the
Right.
video, the publishing, your social networking accounts that you have, you're going to put that everywhere so all can see. That's the whole
Okay.
point. That's the whole point of the publishing, because of what I talked about on Monday with the computer technology, with the facial recognition databases that they have, primarily TikTok. That's what they're going to use to say, well, we know who this person is based upon what they publish. If people
Right.
didn't publish anything, if nobody used Ancestry DNA would collapse. So now Ancestry DNA went from being not knowing anything except for what you give it. Now it's active. People are using it as an authority.
Right. Right. I I know. I don't know. I just I don't know. I think like
So the reason
okay.
for
No, I'm
all
just
those
gonna ask you.
pre-existing contracts having to be, see, you're just doing a declaration. That's easy. Before, people had to do an affidavit. Then they had to wait 10 days and do a notice of default, then do another 10 days to then dishonor them. And then they would be able to come on the webinar. Now you just have to do a declaration because the pattern has been established with all those different groups and companies that they cannot respond, will not respond, won't respond. So why should people have to now wait 45 or 60 days when all they have to do is explain, this was my experience with them. They didn't tell me black has no standing at law. They didn't tell me I'm white. They didn't say any of this. And that's it. Make the declaration, send it to them. Once it's sent to them or emailed to them, then that's it. Once they've gotten it, you're done because they're not going to respond.
I have one question for you. Because I was supposed to ask it on the fire, but you know it. I have this in front of me, and I'm listening to what you're saying, and I kind of just forget what I was supposed to ask. So, may I ask that question if you don't mind?
TikTok, TikTok.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on the statement, everything is coming on this thing?
I can't hear you. You got to come closer to your phone or something because I'm not having.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the statement, everything has become a little same thing?
What are my thoughts on what? I can't hear that word.
So, recently, well, not recently, but I guess it's been a last 2 years, Trump has been saying that everything has become a little same thing. You know,
Everything has to come what?
a level level playing field.
Yes.
Okay. So, let me just rearrange this question because you said TikTok, so I'll look for a certain answer. Because my interpretation of that is we're moving from maritime into what it always was supposed to be, which is admiralty. I'll give my reasoning behind it. Level playing field in my mind means that everything is on the same level. I don't think if I was to get a very long, firm, you know, not bendable ruler and go to the sea at any point in time, the water would stay level beneath it, at every single point. So I am thinking that no, we are moving into the admiralty field, which we always were supposed to be in, considering we're on land, and I do get the whole water, there's more water than that, I understand that. But do you agree with my reasoning?
I'm still not getting what's the question.
Okay, I kind of rearranged it to a yes or a no because you're saying TikTok, so I try to make it a little bit more easier or faster for you to answer. I'm asking you if you agree with my reasoning that level playing field, the statement or the phrase level playing field means moving into admiralty law as opposed to maritime, which, by default they've been operating on it for the longest time, which allows for them to carry out the frauds that they've been carrying out, the various court rooms and, all these legal establishments.
Admiralty and maritime law is the same. We created that, number one. Number two, you're already in it. That's why they don't teach law and commerce in school. So if you went through the Canadian school system up here, did you go through the Canadian school system?
No.
So what school?
Closest I came was. Go ahead.
So what school? Where were you formally educated, as they say?
In Jamaica.
Okay, and so you came here when you were what, in your teens?
I came here in my 20s.
Okay, in your 20s. So you had all your former education in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So they never taught that in Jamaica. They taught the British system, but again, they didn't teach you the British system when you were growing up. You just knew if you ever had to go to court, it was the magistrate and my lord and my lady and they're wearing wigs and all that stuff. That is my point. That Jamaica, which is in an island, it's in on water, is being governed commercially through the British legal system, and the United Kingdom is a maritime country because it's surrounded by water. They're not teaching people that. And so this is not, oh, we're moving into that. It's already been around. What it is people are now starting to wake up to the realization that there's commerce. What is happening, because this is a planet that's made up primarily of what? Water.
Water.
So therefore, if you're on land, it should be land rules where you're innocent and have to be proven guilty. That's not what's happening. It's now guilty first and have to prove innocence, which is maritime.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. This is not surprising.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh my God, it's getting worse.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that on maritime law, you're guilty first, have to be proven innocent. People are now waking up to realize that they have been functioning and operating under maritime law. They weren't taught that in school. They weren't taught in high school. That was just, oh yeah, you have rights and you have this. It's all lie. Then when you learn. When you do learn that it's a scam and the public officials are involved in the overseeing of the public, all people are picking is a new overseer. That's all they're picking. Then it turns into that. That's why 1 minute when they're running for office, they say they'll do this. Then when they get into office, then all of a sudden they're doing something different. And then people say, well, that's not what they campaigned on. I said, did you get a contract from them in writing? Huh? I said, there you go. So there, it's oral contract. They could say anything. When they get into office, they'll do something totally different. So that is not the true basis of a contract.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. That was my only question.
Yeah.
I wanted to find out because there was a bit of an issue, as you know. I'm not sure if I speak to you about this or your mate Doc speaks to this administration part of it, um, the administrative part. But I need to know how many days I have left because I know I was told initially that once I was given the 18th form, I'd have a 7-day after interview. But then, of course, there was a bit of a delay for reasons you already know. And
You got
I
six
just need to know,
months. You got six
pardon?
months.
Okay.
You have 6 months to keep moving forward. But with the declaration, I have to see your rough draft. So I'm going to be looking at the email and saying, yeah, this is good, or fix this up, or your spelling was
Right.
off here. Once you've done that, and then I say, okay, now take it to the notary, get it notarized. Once that's done, you send that to me, and then that's it. What you will be doing is doing. You'll have it notarized. You'll send it off to who you have to send it off to, and then you're going to you're going.
Program would have been ideal for them right up until the point
Yes.
where I read the caveat and saw that.
Yes.
So it's not just okay. I'm sure this woman is out here and she took no. I made decisions based on that. So I'm happy know that I know because remember yesterday when she was on, I didn't know about that video. The video was sent 12:15 a.m. this morning,
Mm-hmm.
today.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw it when I got up and I watched it. Up until that point,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you guys were doing in terms of changing, I didn't know, right? So I'm just saying that is the reason why I called and I wanted to clarify this because I really wanted to send this off to certain people and see if
And you
something like
can,
this.
and you still
Yes,
can.
that's what I'm saying. No, I know this.
Yes.
You see, because again, I'm going off of a
Aren't you
paper
great?
that says
Aren't
one
you,
thing.
yes,
That's
and
why
aren't you grateful for that
of course,
video?
I am grateful. I am grateful, but I'm asking you if I could get an updated paper that reflects something that is
We're
known
going to
what you
be
sent to
we're
me.
going to be fixing that. That's what I told you earlier in the conversation, that we have to change that. I have to change the quantum invocation. We got to go do and rehaul this. We've done this multiple times. So
Right,
you're
because
getting it
right.
straight from the source. Yeah, you got that paperwork. You know what it says on the paper. I'm telling you, one, that's old. Two, we gave you the video. Three, you were on the webinar yesterday, and I said, yes, we'll take PCR. We will not take vaccine unless somebody who can produce show a product where somebody took the shot and it they're not having any clotting. They got a D-dimer test that shows that they're not clotting microscopically. Outside of that, for as far as the people took the shot are concerned, it's still a no. And I put the onus on the people who took the shot. You have to go find a remedy and bring it to us. That is verified and it's a confirmed fact that yes, this product works, or this fruit or whatever works. Once you got that, then we can open it up, because the problem is the people, it has been documented by multiple doctors. Some of them were in the special forces, U.S. special forces, and they're like, yes, we know what this is. This is going to remote control people. And so
Mm-hmm.
if since it's going to remote control people, people are going to be, they'll think they're themselves
Yes, yes, I
at
know.
in one point, and then another point they'll flip and people say, what the hell's wrong with this? Ain't the person I know. Why are they acting like this? Because the person won't know that at a lab or a satellite or a military base someplace somebody's behind manipulating them, because when they take the shot, all their everything that happens in their body is being recorded and sent off to a cloud. So then that once they figure out how the person's brain waves work, now they'll know how to change them, manipulate them, etc. And that's what they're doing. So this is what happens on our webinar. It's happened multiple times. So I do appreciate that you bringing that to my attention. However, we have already said from yesterday that this is what we were going to do, because we got a lot of changes to make now that they were so adamant with pushing this fraud on the public. Now it's broken apart, it's falling apart, it's busted up. Now all the things we had to do have to get changed because of what they did, and that's going to happen. So don't worry about that. But we have to change that, because I have to change quantum invocations, mutant supremacy. Some of those links we had to re-put up the Rabbi Finkelstein interview because it was taken down. People saying, hey, it's not there. That's why we like the communication. So if there's anything that's taken down or there's changes, then we can do the updates so people will get the most current information. That's fair, isn't it?
Okay. That is amazing, and I'm very thankful and grateful for you, doing all of this. I don't know. I understand, we have to verbalize things to make it very clear, but I'm very grateful. I don't know if maybe I'm not giving that energy to you, or you're not picking up on it. I don't know, but I am grateful. So I'm just going to make sure I verbalize that so you know.
Oh, much appreciated. And so now the people that you were going to tell that you couldn't tell, now you can tell them, say, hey, this is your miracle. If you don't jump on this, done.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh. You know what? It's okay. If I have any more questions, this is what I was going to ask you. I know I sent you an email in regards to the different ways in which people could be tested, tested for the so-called PCR culture thing. And I was checking it myself, and I want to make sure you actually got it the way I sent it. It was a very long screenshot. You replied saying much appreciated to the email, but I want to make sure you got it the way I sent it, because I've been having some issues sending emails. It's not something I've been dealing with for a couple years now. And I just want to make sure you got it the way I sent it.
You sent me an email when?
So it was sent to email sendit19@gmail.com. I sent it a couple of days ago, actually. I'm just looking through my. Okay, so it was sent on August 19th.
August 19th? Oh, is that the one about? Oh no, that's somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay, confidential, just in case. Okay, I don't even think I looked at this. No, I said much appreciated, so I did look at this.
Yes.
Let me see here. What is this? Oh yeah. This one about the different testing and all that. Yeah,
Yes.
I wasn't getting this, but then because I see that it was how to take a test. What is a PCR test? The chain reaction testing. So okay, yeah, I saw all that. I have to go through that a little bit. Not that it really. I mean, really, it doesn't really matter at this point.
Well, of course. But just in terms of, I don't know how you do this kind of stuff, and I don't have a certain energy towards me. People have always told me I come off forced when I'm not trying to. Sometimes I feel like I have a lot to tell, or I want to help, and I just say what I have to say, and however it comes out, it's the way it comes out. And it's coming from a good intention, But
and the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah. And sometimes I just feel like it's received in a way that it was meant to be even given. So, maybe it's my tone of voice. I don't know. Because I've been told, I have a tone that's not very feminine. I can't help it. I just am so grateful when it comes to that.
I don't get that impression that because I've been accused of that, and I said, well, forget my tone. Let's focus on what we're discussing. Is what I'm saying
Exactly.
out of line?
Mm-hmm.
And most times that's not it. I said, so because of the way my tone is, you don't like that. And I'm like, well, that's your hang up, not mine.
Exactly.
All I'm
So
focused on is what I'm saying, or the discussion that myself and anyone else having. Are we dealing with the facts? Are we dealing with confirmed facts? Are we dealing with validation? Are we dealing with logic? Because if it's emotion, then yeah, that's going to be a problem. If we talking about logic, then that's something else.
okay, because to be honest, initially in the call, I'm used to getting this from men specifically. So I really thought that's what was happening. I didn't really think it would happen with you. So I'm actually happy that that's not what took place. Because, like I said, in the past, I've had this issue with, certain people, men specifically, even though I don't feel like I'm coming off the way that they're saying I'm coming off. Or maybe it's just a decoy to not answer whatever it is that I was presenting to them. But
No,
the
it's
bottom
just, it
line is,
comes down to to me, what you describe, it comes down to frequency. That's how I
yeah,
look at that.
exactly.
And whoever you're talking to may not know you or have a discussion with you, and then in all of a sudden in the middle of the discussion, like something happens, they're highly offended, or they're highly they don't want to be around you. So that has more to do with frequency than anything.
Yeah. Well, I'd say something I need to work on.
Well, what you
My
need to do is accept that.
No, I've accepted a long time ago.
No,
But I don't want
that's
to be the
great, but I'm
person.
saying, when I mean accept, I mean this is what it is. This is why I said yesterday, you all have to seek the living amongst the dead. And unfortunately, this is, you're going to have to go through an ocean of dead. And it does sometimes affect how you interact with people, because you're not sure. It might start off good, and then it just, oh man, it just crashed afterward.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
you
get what
have,
you're
so you
saying.
become very guarded, just to
Mm-hmm.
make, until it hits that point where, okay, now I know for a fact we can have an elevated discussion or elevated talk, or the person's not going to
Yes.
be all bent out of shape because I said something, but they told me, what do you think? Oh, I think that's a bunch of bumbleclot. Why would you say something like that? You asked me.
Uh-huh.
You asked me what was my thoughts. I give it to you. Now you mad at me for the thoughts of that person.
Yeah.
That happens.
Well, no, I know what you mean. Believe it or not, I came to this conclusion a very long time ago. I've always been a very lonely person. And I'm sure you understand that doesn't mean I've been with those people. I just say to myself because you know, like I told
You
you,
can
the people
see
that leave in their grave,
you can
they
see
stay.
people, and it's at the point that sometimes you know what people are going to do before they do it, and they go ahead and do what you already see they're going to do, thinking you didn't know in the first place. And you're like, damn, this fool's an idiot. I knew he was going to do that. I knew he was going to do it. And so that is just the reality. And this is what we told people on the webinar. These, like with what's happening, the frequency is the best example that I can use. So if you're vibrating, or you've always been trying to oscillate on a higher frequency, higher resonance, higher vibration, when you run into people who are not on that frequency, most times they're going to not want to be around you. You won't even have to say anything. Your presence will automatically push them away. That's actually a blissing.
No, yes, I know,
That's a
I do.
blissing. And so what it does
No,
is it starts to narrow, you start seeing a pattern, and that's where
yes,
the solitude, being a hermitess, comes into play, because you're like, I don't mind socializing with people. You have socialization skills. However, when it comes out, I'm not going to talk about the same dance hall stuff. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. I want something that's intellectually stimulating. And if you can't get that from homegirls or associates or whatever, you're like, okay, these women are mundane. They're fucking
Yeah.
basic. So you're like, okay, I can't, if I, let me get out the house, go to Caravana, whatever, and then okay, you'll have that, mundane discussion. But the impression I get, and I stand to be corrected, is at a certain point you're like, I can't. It has to go higher. It can't just stay there. And then it gets frustrating because you want to talk higher, and they opened their eyes up, lifted their head up, and you thought, oh wow, okay, and oh well, I don't know about that. Nobody knows. How do we know what's going on? You just got to trust the government. And then you just
It's
like,
like what you
damn.
said, right? It's like what you said about people's genes only taking them as far as they could go.
No,
So
no, I
that's
didn't
kind
say
of like,
that. I didn't say that. Atom Ray, that's Man from Planet Risk on
oh, okay,
page
okay.
6.
Thank you for correcting me.
That's Man from
Okay,
Planet
so
Risk, and
well, to be
that
very honest with you, I heard it from you first.
yeah.
So
But I'm just
you
saying,
know,
I'm making it clear that
no, of course,
that's where I got it from. I know I may
yes,
get attributed to it, and then I'll say, well, here's my reference of how I came to that. Why I made that statement,
yes,
and that's when I had looked back on the book, and he said, listen, not everybody's supposed to make it because not everybody's genes is going to take them. So that's a reality. So that means you can't look at, you can't look at people who have the same complexion as you and
mm-hmm.
use that as a
Because it's a
basis. That's not
yes,
how this works. This is why some people find what we're doing frustrating. And I told them, I said, this is different because think about it. It's almost like we're not trying to, but it's like we're cutting the cord from the matrix and wanting to connect with nature. So when that happens, certain alliances that you used to have may become dissolved. Not, and it doesn't have to necessarily be physical. It doesn't have to be forceful. It could just be a matter of all of a sudden, yeah, I never talked with homegirl anymore. We never talked, and we just drifted apart, and that was it. And that's how those things happen. So this is why the couple that was in Alabama, they fully understood because they watched the Bobby Hemmett video. So we understand. I was like, listen, this is about finding your spiritual family. This is not about your physical family. This is about your spirit. You have a physical family and you have a spiritual family. Spiritual family is not the same as your physical family. And I just use
right.
family just for the sake
I
of
know
the
as an
discussion.
example.
And so this is
I
this
know.
is why we told people this information will break up relationships. It will break up households. I told people up front. This is like if you ever saw the movie They Live, this is
I
it.
did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I wanted to, you know what? I'll just send you the questions via this. Can I send you the questions to that same email, kenneth19@gmail.com,
You
or should
can
I send
send
it
me
to
the
another?
questions there. That's fine.
Okay, okay. All right, because the reason why I asked about the uh, the reason why I asked about yeah, I can just feel the thought just being pushed from my mind. The reason why I asked about the standing assessment or assessment standing process was because for some reason when we had initially called, I could have sworn, of course, I'm wrong, so I'm hoping you're going to correct me. I could have sworn I was told that it was $1,000. So I'm here preparing and everything, but wanted to just confirm because I'm trying to get everything in place.
What did you say?
So
You were sworn it was what?
it was $1,000, like $1,000 US, you know. So
No,
I'm here
that's
preparing
for
everything.
me doing the UCC for somebody.
Oh,
That's
that's
what
what,
that's for. The webinar is free except for the pre-existing contracts. The donation is required for that.
which I've already done that, so that's not an issue. But
No, but
that's okay. So now
I'm
I know.
explaining. I'm explaining that so this way
Yeah,
I don't have to re-explain this again.
Right. Okay, I will make sure to look
When
into
people
it.
have pre-existing contracts, they've contracted with those groups or organizations. With what
Mm-hmm.
we do, that fraud, that fault, that deficiency is not going to fly. It's going to cause a problem for them because whoever they have a commercial issue with is going to want to defer back to their pre-existing contract. So the
Exactly.
counterclaim for what they did in the past, that has to be fixed. I'm not doing that for free. The webinar is free. You got to do. You're responsible for your shipping and your
Notarizing.
and your courier costs and all of that stuff. And then from that point, once you graduate, it's training. And the training you have to do the UCC because technically, people, I wasn't training anyone unless there was a secure party. And so since I've went Bakus Aglug Paseb Suta Aglug Paseb Asub Nutut Anuki Allah Pahatuf Nutut Asub. So um so afterward now when people graduate they got to be a secure party because the commercial processes that they want to utilize they can't be considered a debtor. You understand?
Right. That was natural.
And they have to learn how to move, they have to learn how to function as a creditor, they have to conduct themselves as a creditor. All of that, you got to get trained for that. People aren't going to do that. And I know even despite people being on the webinar, I know some people, they're not even looking at the documents that we're giving them. And I can tell when I said, well, it says to do this, why are you sending me PDFs when you're supposed to be sending me Word file before? People aren't doing spell checks. People aren't doing. I said, hey, check your punctuation. We tell people, oh, I just got a phone. I was like, you can't just have a phone. That's not gonna go. That's not gonna fly. You gotta have either a laptop or a computer. I said this was in the
Oh,
instructions.
okay. I use Ubuntu. I mean, so far it's been working fine. I've not had any issues with Google Docs or anything like that. But I do not have anything on my computer that's Microsoft. So
I
the
don't care.
beneficiary.
I don't
Okay.
care if it's my. It doesn't make a difference to me if it's Microsoft or not. I'm saying have a computer with a Word program. I don't care if you're not using Microsoft. That doesn't mean anything to me.
No, I get that. It's just sometimes because of the different software, certain things might be a little bit different. But in terms of the criteria on what the list is supposed to look like in terms of margin, all that stuff, it will work just fine.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you for answering my questions and clarifying certain things. Um, and I guess I'll be looking forward to speaking to you in the next couple of days in regards to my statutory declaration.
Regarding your what?
Statutory declaration, the ones that I have to do. I
Yeah,
haven't really.
I'm waiting
Yes.
for yeah. So when you get your rough draft, email me your rough draft because I'm looking forward to the one from Mark because I already have one. I just need to get the I just need to get the I have to redo. I have a template already for quantum, but I have to fix it because you were with Mark, so I have to tailor that one specifically for Mark.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to do yeah because you're just gonna all you're gonna have to do is just autograph it. You don't even have to get it notarized.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to do that. Listen, again,
Mm-hmm.
I don't get tired saying this, and I just think people when they really embrace what I'm saying by that phrase, for the word of the black is with the no hyphen standing at the law, which is what I talked about yesterday, is that I
Yesterday,
don't have
right?
a problem with the quantum. However, when Atum Ray said the trap is within the noun and the noun is the part of the spell, and they're focused
Mm-hmm.
on nouns, and then I said, well, here's what quantum means, here's what Latin means, here's what grammar means. I'm like, hold on. This is for Amorites. And it's right there once you go into the etymology of the
Right.
words.
Mhm.
That's why they won't talk about race, but race is part of all contracts on the planet. So how can they not talk about it? And then why isn't what's his name? Russell, I use him as an example. Mark is in the same boat too. They're supposed to be why are they not talking about the fact that the doctors have a right, if they don't know the race of the person, to mark their race down? Isn't that a problem?
Oh yes, especially considering if there's other issues or blockages later on to them. So even in the hospital, they're willing to call up. That's what they did to my mom. I mean, kind of sidetracking, but they murdered her straight up, and that's something I know I'm going to fix once I get myself in the right standing. You know, I prayed for this. I asked her. I asked many of my ancestors that I knew about that connection to since I was young.
Oh,
And
got my phone call here. Hold on a second, please.
uh,
Greetings. Greetings. Greetings.
how are you?
I am that I am. Hold on one second. I just got to get rid of this call. Hold on.
Okay. Able to do the same thing that you require of anybody that has contracted with it, which is to
Excellent
continue.
question. Excellent question. First of all, I already had claims of the life from before, years before you, number one. Number two, you're black. You are in no position to negotiate the terms of your freedom. Number three, if you're about truth, facts, and you want to get the, you want to know, you don't want to be deceived, I'm giving you the email that I communicated with him. You have a claim of the life with him, don't you?
Let me be very technical.
No, it's a
My
simple yes or no.
name,
I don't need technical. It's a simple yes or no. Do you have a claim of the life with Mark or not?
if I answer yes, it's going
Just
to raise
it's a
a
simple yes or
problematic
no
afterwards.
question. It's a simple yes or no question. Do you have a claim of the life? Have you done a claim of the life with Mark? You've seen his teachings, correct?
Yes, I have seen a teaching.
Okay, so you did a claim of the life, correct?
I did a clear of the life.
So
Yes,
therefore you
yes,
have a claim of the life that you learned from Mark, correct?
yes, that is
Okay, so
correct.
that's three yeses in a row. So the fact that I have to pull teeth from you, now I have to think like, why are you not answering the question directly? So Mark says, claim of the life. You are black. You're a black woman. You have no standing at law. Now, what Mark has stated is that the quantum is perfect. It's mathematically correct. We can agree on that?
We have already agreed on that.
Okay, so therefore, what this means is Mark is saying the language is correct. However, the courts, whether it's UK, Toronto, the US, have a global program, a maxim, a religious, if you will, um, uh, they have a religious um, motto, a religious motto that anyone who's dark skinned, copper colored, etc., has no standing at law. What does no standing at law mean? It means they do not have a guarantee that they will get full protection under the law. Also, the administrators who are sitting up looking down at those people in particular, they can disregard any and all things that they say. They can disregard and void out any and all of their contracts.
Mhm.
So, as a black woman who has no standing at law, who does a claim of the life that is supposed to be mathematically correct, which you have now found out, that Atum Ray said the kingu works on the trap, the spell works within the noun. And the trap is person, places, and things. Quantum is supposedly to be what? Where there are prepositional phrases of preposition, article, noun, and the nouns are properly identified. However, what is the problem? A person who is considered Black, African American, Afro Canadian, etc., has no standing at law. That means that their claim is fraudulent because the courts can say we don't have to listen to them. There are statutes and court cases that are still on the books where they don't have to be listened to.
Mm.
That is a
I understand.
that is a problem because then
I understand.
to say that it is mathematically correct, how can people who have no standing get remedy?
I understand what you're saying.
So
But
now
my question is
I
this.
found the email that I wanted to send you. Great. So I'm going to send this to you. This is the
Okay,
email that I
perfect.
sent to Mark on
Okay.
what was it? January 21st, cuz you want to use this as an exhibit with your document when you send me your rough draft, or if you're waiting on me to send you the quantum, then great, cuz I have to include this anyway. So it was January 21st of 2020 at 10:31 a.m. is when I had sent this to this was my response to Mark that he never answered the question. What I had did was I sent this to him on January 20th at 3:15 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to forward this to you now so you will have it. Gosh, do I have your email in here? Uh-oh, I don't think I got you. What's your email again?
It's Beset, the speaker at gmail.com.
Okay, I know why. I have you, I think, in Kemet, but not in Tafolat. So I want to send it from Beset. Okay, yes, there we go. Beset the Seeker. There we go.
Okay, but my question really still stands. Why have you not just accepted your declaration of fraud against him since you are in what I consider to be the prime position to be able to do this?
Okay, I was very clear about this. Looks like I'm going to have to explain this again. I'm answering your question. You want me
Okay,
to answer it or
okay.
not? Which is it?
I would love for you to answer my question.
Okay, so I'm going to answer it again.
Mm-hmm.
Mark is saying he is a global postmaster, die-rector, what have you. He has that. You're black. I'm not. I'm white. So you did a claim of the life as a black woman who has no standing at law. And Mark is supposed to be telling you, hey, first we have to change your race and ethnicity, but he can't do that. First of all, he's the black man. Second of all, you're a deity provided you claim it and you honor it and you live it. So how can he free you, or if he's going to say, well, we're going to free the whole world, shouldn't he tell you the truth of your existence? He doesn't have
Okay,
to,
so
but shouldn't
I'm
he?
sorry.
No,
I'm
no,
okay.
answer my
So
question, please. Listen, I'm answering your question. This is how we're doing it.
mm-hmm.
So, can you please
Okay.
answer the question? Shouldn't he be telling you about your origin if it's about freeing everybody?
Of course, I agree
Okay.
with that. Yes,
Is
I
he
know that. No,
doing
for
that?
certain.
Is he doing that?
Well, I haven't really been contracting with him since I met you, but since up until
It's
the
a
point that
simple
I did the
question.
whole thing.
Did
No,
he tell you you're a white female?
okay, wait 1 minute. No, I have not spoken to this man. Okay, you're
I
asking me
overstand.
if
I
I'm still considered a
overstand
black
that.
woman who has no
I
standing at
understand
law.
that. Hold
Yes.
on a second. I understand that. This you're proving my point. He is supposed to be saying, okay, the people who are coming to do his program, he needs to know what is their race and ethnicity. Isn't that fair?
I understand that, and I
No,
agree
I'm
with that.
asking
Yes,
is
that is
that's
correct.
fair. That's a simple question.
Yes, that is fair, but it
Okay,
does
so
not answer
therefore,
what I'm
if
asking
he's
you.
if he I'm answering your question. I don't think you can comprehend it.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I have no standing at law as a black woman, therefore I have no place to be asking you, a plenipotentiary judge, whether or not you should have done a SC or statute declaration against another so-called plenipotentiary judge.
But
I feel like that's what you're trying to tell me.
I am giving you the email that I communicated with Mark.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the communication is 3 documents. First, one of them, which I had to put in the body of the email, is the Elizabeth's oath, which I put in quantum. So you need to see that.
Okay.
Then there's talks about the laws of the 12 tables, the laws of the Oleron, pardon me. All of that is there. The Knights Templar, all of that stuff is in there. So when he got that, I also gave him, which you're going to see, is for the race claims, which you're familiar with. You've seen that already. So as him being a global die-rector, chief judge, whatever, I have already approached him and said, listen, you have to answer this one simple question. And the question is, for the word of the black is with the no hyphen standing at the law. What does that mean? He never answered it. So after he never answered it, as I told you before, I took all the secure parties I trained and we went and had a field trip by going on his YouTube broadcast that he had. Something important he had to do. So we went on there and we started asking him questions in the chat. He only stayed on for an hour. And I'm like, well, for you to be a plenipotentiary and you have something important to say and we're listening to it, and it's like, hold on, an hour? If this is supposed to be earth shattering, nothing happened. So I have that email, right, which I've sent to you. So anyone who has done a claim of the life who is black, the contract, the starting point, the foundation is black, has no standing at law. So you have to, and all the people who are doing the same thing, whether it's him or Mursan Semple, whatever, they have to do a declaration of fraud. We used to tell them to do affidavits. Affidavits is taking a month. Declaration is as soon as it's done, you send it to them. Once they get it, you do your video, you publish it, do your video, and publish your video. You're done.
Okay.
That's better
Okay.
than doing 45 days. So we
Okay. I
changed that.
understand.
Go on.
Okay, my next question to you really is: were you already in a proper standing as a basically a white indigenous, whereas SF 181 form says Native American prior to?
Say that last part. Was I in a what? Standing at law? What?
Were you already a white
Mm-hmm.
indigenous? But
Mm-hmm.
of course, the SF 181 form says Native American. I'm saying indigenous, but it
Mm-hmm.
says Native American. Were you already in that status prior to I don't know who you contracted, was it Mark or this other guy Russell, or was it
That was David Wynn Miller, and that
David?
was way back around 2005. And when I
So
did
were
my
you
claim
already? Mm-hmm.
in 2000, that was back in 2005.
Okay,
When I was
so
dealing with David Wynn Miller, when I
so
did
were you
my
already?
hold on, when I did my SF 181, my first one, that was in 2007. And that when I did that 2007, I did it two different ways because I'm up here. So not only did I fax it, I sent it registered mail. So I got my standing at law. So anything I did after 2007, that was already as me being white. So then when I went and did my quantum for the claim of the location, which was in 2008, that was after we had did the export of the US, Canada, and Mexico on the export declaration, which I was contacted by the Foreign Bureau Processing Unit in Indiana, first by via email and then second by phone. And I spoke with the guy and they confirmed they would process the export declaration. when I did my for the claim of the location, which if I recall, I think I gave that to everybody on Monday. If not, then it was probably the open Q&A. So that was already done in 2008. So when I did that, I have already been doing land passes, as I called it, for people, which included me claiming the geographic coordinates on the planet. When I did that, I put it on David Windmiller's Facebook page. I informed Mark that I had done that and gave it to Mark. So I already had standing at law when I made a full scale, because you got to think about this, right? I went and did a full scale challenge to what David did, what Mark did, and what what's his name, Russell has done. By the way, just to let you know, so now you got an inside track. Russell has my 14 pager, and the people who went there, who were on the webinar, took that and gave it to him and told him, yeah, we have a problem, because anytime, right, this is the black woman talking, she's on the webinar, but she's saying, listen, they have the right to, they can, if we don't self-identify, they'll identify us. Russell admitted to her he didn't even know that. So she was like, hey, this has to be changed. We got a problem, because they can make this. And so then she even had to tell Russell, well, which department is this? Office of Management and Budget. And she showed him the form. So he has the SF-181 form plus my declaration of fraud for the claim of the fraud of the quantum. Russell has that as of last Saturday.
Okay. So you initially did your quantum thing through David Miller.
Yep. Yep.
So you have no relation whatsoever to Mark as far as the quantum partition discrepancy.
Well, Mark is alleging that he took over from David, that he got confirmation, to do what he's doing from David. Now, I haven't seen any document or any proof or any will from David saying that Mark is the one to take over. So I said, well, I'll accept that for the time being, with full reservation of my autochthonous rights eternally. So I said, okay, no problem. This is what you're alleging. Fine, I'll accept it on its face. Now, I have told Mark that when I really looked at the teacher's guide to the Nawabic language and what Atumre wrote, and I said, oh, snap, no wonder we're not having remedy with this quantum, because that is not even attuned to us as carbonites. You understand?
I understand.
So when Atumre is saying the trap, the spell works, the trap of the spell, the kingu is the spell of ignorance, and it works within the noun. The trap is within the noun. Nouns are persons, places, and things. Atumre said anything that isn't moving is dead. Okay. So I communicated that to Mark, that I had already done the claim of this was before David Windmiller died. I claimed the geographic coordinates on the planet and posted it on his Facebook page. That's evidence. No response from David. Mark may not be aware of it. I notified him via email, which you have now, because I just sent you the email. And now Russell is blown away by the fact that, yeah, even the word black has no value. So therefore, I'm already ahead of these guys. They ain't even figured that out yet. By me doing for the race claims and for the race claims and for the rechanging for the definition, as they would say in quantum, or fining, not fine like you're getting a fine, but defining what the race is as per quantum. So they have an obligation first to get all the races clearly identified, because the woman who was at the U.S. Census said at the center of the U.S. Census is money, and power. Money is a contract. Power is a contract. Race is part of a contract. So you cannot separate race from money or power because the statutes are connected to the money and the power. The statutes are connected to the race. The treaties are connected to race, statutes, money, and power. Do you see the pattern here?
Yes.
So anybody that's saying they're trying to free people, I don't care what their quote unquote so-called or alleged race is, you have to tell black people they're actually white. And that has been the litmus test that I did to that knucklehead on Nibiru News, Amorite. And he said he wasn't going to do it. I got the recording. I did a 5-day comment. I think it's 5-day comment number 141 that I went on his show. He said, oh, we could talk about anything. As soon as I said, you got to tell black people they're white, he said, so I got to tell every African American that I see that they're God's chosen. I said, I didn't say that, but yeah, you got to tell them the truth that they're white. No, I ain't doing it. No, wait, I ain't going to do it. Right there in front of everybody.
As opposed to somebody who doesn't say anything at all.
Pardon?
I'm saying at least he was upfront.
I can respect. As the word says, I can respect that. At least he was honest. That I can respect. He's saying he ain't gonna do it. So that means I said, okay, why wouldn't you do it? You want to talk about extraterrestrials in Nibiru, but you don't want to tell black people that, oh, because there will be a connection. That means if there's a ship, we get on it. If there's changes, we're going to be at the head of the change. Of if there's a reset or a renewal, we will be at the head of that. He won't be. So, of course, he has a vested interest now, and he cannot say that. So, Russell has my 14-pager. They gave him my phone number and everything. I said, now we will see how open-minded he really is, because I know the ultimate. The ultimate is that it is darkness in creation. That's the reality.
And that is fact. When you did the when you contracted with my God, David Miller, and you said, of course, I think you said you did it in 2005, and then approximately 2 years later, when you kind of found out that the whole thing was messed up. Did you have to go back and rectify any contracts that you had created using?
Again, I will explain this to you again. When I had knowledge of that, I put it on what? David Wynn Miller's Facebook page. That is called evidence. So David was still alive. Listen, don't wrestle with me. Don't overtalk me. David was still alive. So, according to his use of quantum, under Title 42, USC 1986, which is called Action for Neglect to Prevent, he was given knowledge of my claims. Now, as him being a postmaster, a judge, and all of that, what is he supposed to do then once that has been presented to him? He is supposed to say, okay, let me see this. Is it valid? Is it incorrect? If it's incorrect, he is to correct it as per his quantum technology, and then tell me and say, hey, what you did here is incorrect, and this is the reason why. And if he has something else that was better than what I did, then he's supposed to say, hey, I've already done such and such. Here's the document. Overstand?
Overstand, but I'm referring to just your personal.
You're not listening. You really are not listening to me. You're not. You're not. You're not. I'm telling you, I communicated with him on Facebook. You know this and you have knowledge. So if I'm in the wrong, he is supposed to what? Correct me and direct me to that which is correct. He never said anything. I informed Mark. Mark hasn't said anything, which you have the emails now. Now, Russell, which I just told you, Russell has my 14 pager. He is already admitted to the women that were there who are on my webinar, who are witnesses, and both of them told me a couple days ago that yes, he realized this is serious because all race is tied into all contract. So when I presented what I have done to David and he has stayed silent, Mark has stayed silent. Now Russell has it with what I've done recently, which is pending. We'll see whether he responds or not. My experience tells me these Amorites realize you got to give us back the fucking planet.
Exactly.
So I am the one who has spearheaded this. I'm the tip. I'm the point. I am the nucleus. I'm the center. I am the one that is saying the fact that these educated so-called people cannot answer this one simple question in their quantum, which they say is better than adverb verb, tells me that what Atum Ray wrote is true, that they're still trapping black people, and they're not telling them the truth that they're actually white. So in all their commercial affairs, socialization, talking to people, education, etc., it means that they are still holding on to pale supremacy, which you have a copy of Pale Supremacy. So that means they are hardwired to keep their mutation alive out of desperation for self-preservation.
Okay, I understand. I want to apologize because I'm really not trying to, as you say, rescue or overtalk you. And I do have to say, I really do sometimes have a hard time hearing you. But in the interest of time, I try my best to hear what you're saying. And I don't know, when I'm talking, you might think I'm over talking you, but I'm really not trying. So let me just put that on the record.
Well,
I'm not
put it
trying to
on. Put
overtalk
it.
you. I'm
It's
coming to you
on
for
the
help.
record.
I'm
It's
coming to
on
you
the
for
record.
clarity.
I can accept that it's on the record because I'm, hearing you a little bit. It's like you're kind of muffled sometimes. No problem. The point
Okay.
here now, the best way you're going to comprehend what I'm saying, I've explained this now. The best way, and that's why I told people the biggest problem black people have is they don't receive. I'm not saying read because that's hatred, and they're not going to do it. The biggest problem is you have to receive what I've done. Why do you think I'm emailing you? So you can see my body of work that I have communicated with these guys, with Mark specifically, and he hasn't said anything. And I want to give you the follow-up email that he sent me where he told me to call him on Skype.
Okay.
I want to give you that. Like he want to sell me, oh here, $1,500, claim it a life trust, status exam. I was like, no. Answer my question. Don't tell me to come on your class and then start giving me an ad for $1,500. I was like, no, we're not doing that. I'm asking you. You're in the UK, and I'm telling you I claimed the British throne. Okay, good. And this is where I told him my question was not answered. So I'm going to forward this one to you.
Did you receive my email at 10:19 at email? I sent you
No,
an
I'm
email,
looking
right?
I'm looking for
10:19.
that.
I sent it. Yes, I wouldn't be surprised because I'm having issues. I've been having issues for some time now. Phone, emails, everything's getting blocked. And I'm just going on. So I'm anyway. So this is the thing, all right. So essentially, all the people who have contracted with him, they're whatever it is that they did, because naturally this is what people do. They do these things. They form these contracts, and with whatever it is that they got from these contracts, lesson teaching courses, they go out there and they do things.
Yes.
Essentially, there's other contracts.
Yes.
Right. So my understanding, and again, I am coming to you for clarity. I read this stuff on my own. I feel like I know the answer, but I'm coming to you for clarity. So please correct me if I am wrong.
Yes.
Okay? Those contracts that they went out there and formed.
Yes.
With this information that they thought was complete and valid and
yes.
Put them at its understanding of law, even though they probably didn't know anything about that.
Yes.
Is voided, essentially, is what I'm understanding.
Yes.
Or just doesn't exist.
Yes. The 14 page, like what Russell has, you're gonna get that from Mark, but I have to fix it because this is dealing with Mark, so I have to include Mark in that. So this one is going to be this is going to be tailored, for lack of a better word, specifically for Mark because you have established a contract with him. The issue that had came up, and Russell has it. So I said all of this is void if, and I'm going to give you the short version. Like I told the guy on the Bureau News, if you are not going to tell black people in commerce that they're white, everything you do is fraud. End of story. End of fucking story. End of fucking story. Because that you're not helping them.
Exactly.
And so what I did is that I have challenged Mark, challenged Russell. Now Russell has it. I'll see if he responds. Mark has gotten it, but he's been dodging. Then he ran into religion. Are you sure you want me to talk about Jesus Christ? I'm like, oh, come the fuck on. Are you kidding me? So what it means is, and then that's why, because in the one that you will be getting is the link to the NASA astronaut saying that the blacks, quote unquote, simulation, sick, are the original owners of the planet. So that means somebody who is a descendant of the mitochondria Eve has to at least put the vibration out there, put the frequency, say something, create a sound about the planet being ours. I've done that. So now I'm showing you now to get to that point of what I have done. And we're not going to accept any compromise. If you want peace, you got to tell us who we are. You got to spread the word. You got to tell the truth. Now, what's going to happen? It's going to wipe out industries. Yes. It's going to wipe out businesses. Yes. You're going to have TV shows that have to get completely burned, like Good Times, like Roots.
All of them.
All of that. So, what does that make me then? In that capacity, I become Thanos.
Yes.
And then not only that, you become a Thanos because then in your world, your environment, your experience, you're like, well, everything that I thought, what I learned, all that has to get torn. That has to get burnt. It has to get deleted. So now you become a Thanos. Because everything that you have experienced in your life, it has to change and it has to be honest toward your existence. If it is not going to be honest toward your existence, then it has to get deleted. Period. Because that means all it's going to do is damage you, suppress you, or oppress you. So this is why something is so simple as a simple quantum phrase for the word of the black is with the no hyphen standing at the law, which means Mark should have known, ought to have known, must have known. He has been given knowledge. He's telling me to call him in the UK. I'm like, I'm not calling you in the UK. I'm talking to you via email. What does this mean? Black has no standing at law. Nope, I'm not going to do that. That should be a simple question. I was able to call David Windmiller and talk with him on the phone. The question
really?
Yes.
Oh.
You're not paying attention to me. David Windmiller, I talked to him directly, and this is where
that makes sense, though.
When I first say that again.
That makes sense because what you're saying, right, about being able to call, like, or to text or call or email you, whichever way.
Yes.
Just to get clarity on something, it makes sense that if you are operating from a place of facts,
yes,
or even let's say you may be I don't know if I'm able to.
You already have. You're calling me. I'm taking your call. I called you back.
No. I'm talking about Mark.
No,
I'm
I haven't
talking
heard
about
anybody that's been able to speak to him directly or call him.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But you can
And
do it
here's
with
okay,
but you can do it with me.
as I'm supposed to be able to. Right?
And
Exactly.
Mark, if Mark is taking over from David, he's supposed to be, because that's what David did. David said, I will have my phone number, my cell phone, everything. He said, I don't have anything to hide. All that I learned from David Wynn Miller. So when I spoke with David and asked about, okay, hey, I was helping somebody and I kept seeing all these people are complaining about the court, this, that. And I said, well, why don't we just go to the source of the problem, the flag? And so I said, well, the question I had always wanted to ask was, is this a constitutional court or admiralty court? So I helped the guy in Milledgeville and he asked the question. And when he did it, the prosecutor or the solicitor, she walked away. The public defender walks away, like everybody's up in front of the judge. When the guy was helping ask that question, she walks away. The public defender, she walks away from him, puts her hands on the rail. The prosecutor, solicitor went and stood by the rest of the attorneys, and the judge, who didn't have his gown on at the time, he starts getting red-faced. So I'm watching this whole scene play out, and I'm like, what's going on? I've never experienced that scene. That didn't even think something like that was possible. So then it was him and the judge talking by themselves. So I asked David about that. David said, do you know what you just did by asking that question? I said, no, I don't. He said, that's 135 charges against the prosecutor, 135
Wow.
charges against the judge, 135 charges against the public defender, because the person that I was helping who asked the question put on the record that they were operating a fraud because of the yellow fringes in the courtroom.
Right.
So therefore, okay, I'm in here. What kind of a court is this? A constitutional court or an admiralty court? Because if it's admiralty, then there's different rules for admiralty. If it's constitutional, then we have to stick with it. But because the fringes were in there in the courtroom, that means the Constitution is suspended in the room.
Exactly.
One of the David's last YouTube classes that he did, it was a 9-hour class, and this one I'm telling people, he was doing 5 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours.
Yeah, I actually have access to those videos.
So I watched those. So I'm telling people that's just quantum. So when people come on my webinar, or if they once they graduate and we're doing training is about 3-4 hours. This is a lot of shit that people have to a lot of knowledge that people have to learn, a lot of stuff, a lot of testing. So it's not going to be no overnight thing. So that's a lot of information that people have been forced to be responsible for. I'm talking from the fiction side with the over 60 million statutes to now learning how to function in nature. So it's not going to happen overnight. They have to learn that. They have to get themselves acclimatized and start living it. So 9 hours for that class. So now when I ask for if David Wynn Miller was still alive, what I've done, I would have called him and be like, listen, for the word of the black is with a no hyphen standing at the law, what does that mean? He'd be able to answer that. Then I would turn around and say, okay, now since we know black has no standing at law, how are you telling black people, African Americans, because the Dred Scott decision isn't overturned, how are you telling them to contract with quantum that they can get remedy, but then when they're doing fiction contracts that require them to put race, that is not being dealt with? This is what I'm talking about. So again, like I said earlier, and I will re-emphasize it because you're going to do the same thing. I don't have a problem with someone has something new. I said, I'll be the first one to drop what I'm doing if they got something that's hard hitting. I ain't met nobody that's knocking stuff out the box like I am. Nobody on this planet, in this planet, off this planet. I'm asking a simple question. I'm like, you're telling me all these intelligent beings in this solar system, nobody can answer this question? So I'm like, hold on. Either people don't know or they do know and they're not saying, which would mean this can cause the economic system of this planet to what? Collapse.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I
what
think
is
it's the latter for me for sure. I go with the latter. I'm going with that for sure.
so therefore, if they say the quantum voided out every contract on the planet, then the quantum itself is voided out because it never dealt with, and still until I hear back from Russell, he got my phone number now. Until then, that means that every contract, the quantum itself gets voided out because it's trapped within the noun. It's not going outside of the noun. It's not going to the fourth dimension. The language is not a fourth dimensional language.
I understand.
So,
I remember you were talking about the tetrahedron.
yes. So therefore, anybody who's coming on the webinar who's black, I am doing this as an insurance policy for them to listen. You're going to do this because when I speak to these guys, sometimes they avoid me because they know they can't win. So I say, I have other people who have contracted that, yes, I'm going to send this, I'm going to submit it, I'll send it to them, da 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 da, like they did with the Nuwabians and everything. And what happened? The Nuwabians haven't never responded. We have a couple people who, one of them is in our nation now, and he's got a lien on the Nuwabians. The whole organization. I told the organization, I told Victoria, you got to turn everything over to me. It's over. They want to ignore me, act like they don't see. Good, no problem. Do that. That means that's a trap for you guys. Good, stay there. In the meantime, we're going to manifest at Cicada on this end. So every now and then I get cycles of Nuwabians contacting me, telling me what's happening, telling me, oh, I'm mad with them and nothing's happening and da 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 da. And so then I tell them, I said, listen, he's not there. If he's there, y'all can't help him. You're black. That is the planet spell for people who are copper colored, calling themselves black. They are trapped using that word and they can't get that. That means everything that emanates from that, mentally, physically, if it's ingrained in your psyche of a person saying that they are black, then everything they do is subject to suppression. It's subject to be voided out. It's subject to be disregarded. It's subject to be ignored. Meanwhile, the people who are saying they are white are not. They're black because black means pale.
Yes, yes.
So this is an insurance policy for the people who did those pre-existing contracts that you were mentioning. People do stuff and then they try and use it. Then they see something else and they want to skip over. I said, no, you have to put in a counterclaim against that contract. And once you publish it, then they can't come back and use it against you. That's the reason for that.
Okay. I know I sent email to you because remember I was talking about it on the webinar, and I'll say it now on the phone. I'll just say it as it is. When I first came across Mark, it wasn't really me that found it. It was my spouse. Most of the videos I really was just kind of sort of like a fly on the wall watching them. I really wasn't that in tune, interested. But there was one video in particular that stood out to me, and that's what I sent to you.
No, I'm not seeing it. I just see your question for both the statutory cover letter and the statutory far plate. Is it best to put my full name? And that was a day ago. So I don't have anything. If you sent that to me
Okay, I'm
today,
gonna send it again because
yeah,
it
I don't
shows
have
that
it.
I sent it on my side. So basically, very briefly, towards the end of the video, and that's what I recalled in my mind. And at that time, of course, I had no idea about black having no standing at law. I watched the video again, and I realized that she actually said black had no standing in law. And I remember you referring people on that, because you were saying that basically at means with or by, right, as opposed to whatever in means, which is basically within. right?
You don't say
So
you say brother-in-law, sister-in-law. You don't say brother-at-law, sister-at-law. So it can't be
exactly,
black has no. That's why Barack said, Barack's constitutional attorney. He's not no fool. He's the one that said it. Black has no standing at law. It is near. Black is not even defined by Black's Law Dictionary. It's not in there. So it doesn't exist.
right. And the funny thing is, I'll send you the thing again. I don't know what's going on, but I'll send it to. What I'll do is I'll send it to the chemist one night, and if, with your permission, um, I can send it to this Takula,
Send it to both of them.
then
Send it to both of them.
right, I'll just send it to both because I don't know what's going on. But yeah, towards the end, he made it very clear, and this is the thing, right? When I watched this at the time, like I said, I'm coming into this as a green mango. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know these terms. So this thing
This
really was
is
over my
why
head.
you have to receive. I'm giving you all this stuff to receive, right? So between the videos that you're watching and now this is in depth of what you're asking. Now you're actually seeing that I communicated with this guy, and you can see that, oh, he's not responding to a very simple question. That red sends up a flag. Um, actually, a red ensign, because flag is a flat piece of stone. So that's not even a correct syntax to use. Ensign is the better syntax to use.
And I don't know. I just remember that standing out for some reason because the webinar I knew I didn't. The recollection that I brought was terrible. It was terrible. But in my mind, I was thinking whatever state I was in at the time when I watched that, it couldn't have been a good state. It was because it just felt like I know myself. I'm a very inquisitive person. I mean, I always be right with the way I come across with my words, but I really think, that's the reason why I call my email because I'm constantly looking for what I just feel when I phone the fact. I just see when it's incomplete. I can feel it. I might not be able to put it into words to articulate exactly what I'm feeling on the inside, but I can feel it. So when I watched the video again, I was thinking to myself, wow, this went right over my head because I would have been like, what is she saying? What does black having no standing? I mean, even though she said in law mean. And I probably would have, but then that's besides the point. The point is he put her on that spot because he was basically saying to her, so as a something black woman, and emphasized on the word black, you know, um, he asked her some stuff. I'm not gonna really say it because I really don't think that's the part, but she responded by saying, oh no, Mark, I'm not black. And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, according to what you taught us, and he kind of quickly corrected her and said, according to the dictionary, um, she's saying, oh, black has no standing in law. So in law, I know the syntax has to be proper, but I'm just saying for the sake of this conversation, right? She said that, and then he's like, well, what if I call you a white woman? And she's like, no, Mark, no, I'm not white. And then she's like, oh, I'm not from Europe or North Europe. And he's like, oh, so he knew. So when
Yes.
I started during that time, and I because of course I said
So
I'm
hold
gonna
on.
give
I'm
you
going to stop you.
this.
I'm going to stop you there. The reason why he knew, and this was how long ago did you see that video?
I've seen this video maybe when I first started. In August. So it had to be this year because this year is when we really started
Yeah,
talking.
when this year?
Um, in August. So I want to say maybe around mid June, early July.
Okay,
Maybe
when
around
you
June.
go look at the email that I sent you to Mark, that was 2020, of January of 2020. So what?
Okay.
So this confirms. Yeah, he of course he knew because I emailed him that 2 years ago.
All right. Well, not that it matters know what I'm about to say, but I've seen it. Like I said, mid June, maybe early July. But the video itself was 8 months ago. But of course, 2020, 8 months ago, you could
That's
add
nothing.
things from the
This
new one.
confirms what you just told me. You
Mm-hmm.
could look and see that he must have known. What if I called you white? Then you said, well, he must have
Exactly.
known. Then how could he have known? Because I'm the one that sent him the definitions for the new race in the ethnicity categories in quantum back in 2020. So not only that, he got the 2 pages from the Nuwabian Teacher's Guide, one dealing with the number 19 and the other one dealing with time. He got that. So what I see is they're wrestling with the fact that they have to get out of the pyramid, but they can't get into or transfer to a tetrahedron. Do you understand now?
Yes, I understand.
So he's got to tell the truth. He got that, and he got the claim I did on Elizabeth's oath. How
No, but you know
I
what he
put it
was
in
doing though?
quantum. No, I don't care
He
about
put
what
this
he's
woman
doing
as
at
a.
this point.
No,
It
I know
doesn't
you don't.
it
I
doesn't
know.
matter.
I
The
know.
focal point here is he is not. That is what's called misrepresentation.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's what I'm talking about. The misrepresentation, then he's going to sit there in front of you and have a slight smirk and act like he doesn't know. I'm like, dude,
Exactly.
don't tell me you don't know. But then when I saw the back of his head and saw how flat it was, I said, oh,
It
this
explains
guy's a
everything.
reptilian. Okay, this makes perfect sense. It explains everything. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So what you need to do is you need to receive the emails that I just sent you today, and that will fill in a lot of the fragmented gaps that's happening, because then you will see that they know. So if Mark well, Russell's hot right now, and I'll wait and see. So when you hear from me, or if you when you hear from me, I'll let you know one way or the other that if Russell doesn't contact me, pale supremacy. You know what pale supremacy is, right?
Yes. Yes.
Then I don't need to say any more because you know what pale supremacy is because you looked at the document, correct?
Yes. I have. I have. I
So
have. Yes.
therefore, so now what you're looking at with the quantum, you will be able to connect this quantum that I did with the pale supremacy and see that if Russell doesn't contact me and Mark, of course, is not going to answer you. It will prove the point that all the other races on the planet know the ones who want to roll with me are the original owners of the planet, the original descendants. And that means that if they're not trying to get things back in natural order, they are against nature. Overstood?
Thank you. Overstood.
So receive everything that I'm giving you. Receive the videos, take the notes, look the words up if I don't look them up in the videos. And it will come together very easily. But the short version, that's the long version, so you have a bigger picture. But the short picture is they are not talking. They have to tell black people the truth that they're white in commerce. If they can't do that, everything else that they do, that includes quantum, is void on its face, because that means that they're now guilty of their own matrix of the violations: fraud, genocide, apartheid, rape, trafficking in human cargo, forced assimilation, crimes against humanity, war crimes, fratricide, parenticide, all of that. And what parenticide is: murder of your parents.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Honor thy mother and thy father, so thy days may be long. Okay. Thank you for
All
answering that question and clearing that up. And I will send you the email. I will be sending it to both Kemet
Thank you.
19
Much
and
appreciated. Much
Rastafari.
appreciated. All white. Have a
Okay.
great Sunday. Abby Gadur.
Abby Gador,
White
White
power.
Power.